welcome to Imperial Advisor episode 58. We're here to talk about the Lion Clan pack today, and as such, we have drafted in Marius the Red Lion, who may or may not have won the favourite competition for most Lion wins in a Coda, and will be joining us here today to give us his insights. Marius, how you doing?
Good, pretty good. The Bologna Cote was pretty fun, albeit quite small.
Yeah, well, I think like end of the season, and at that stage, mostly for the promos had mostly been grabbed. It was just for the development. All right, coolio. Justin, how you doing?
Good. Yep. Very well, thank you.
All right.
And that's it. Yeah.
Awesome. Very good. All right, let's lash into this thing because there's actually a ton of cards to talk about. First up, Cued Nakoma. +1 province strength. Castle. Reaction. After a character you control loses a conflict as an attacker, bow the stronghold. Choose a non-champion character, bow that character. 13 starting honor, 7 fate, 10 influence. Marius, thoughts?
Right, so first of all, the +1 instead of +2 in the additive bonus to the province strength is somewhat of a problem, especially for the most control-y type of decks that this stronghold is going to be good for. But there are ways to mitigate that. For example, I've been very fond of running a transposition in my under my stronghold now, and I think in Sonogaka, that we will see in a bit, I think, is a great province that you actually either lose defending or win quite a bit by not losing, both the game and the the game, because you will win by honoring your characters. So all in all, Cued Nakoma is an interesting stronghold. It allows new plays. I think it is going to shine in the hands of good Lion players and probably good players in general, mainly because of the fact that it allows you to play mind games with your opponents. There is a big downside, however, to this stronghold, and the downside comes to the fact that especially when we're discussing about Lion, and the main objective of the Lion Clan is to break by breaking provinces and by going the conquest way. You are losing one of your two methods per turn of advancing your winning condition, and that is breaking provinces and winning conflicts. So you have to lose in the attack to bow someone. And with the increased amount of cards that allow a player to ready their characters, I think bowing loses quite a bit of equity. And this is the reason why I didn't advocate for the Seeker of Earth vote for the EBS, because bowing is strong, but there are far too many easy ways to ready a character right now. That being said, with the correct deck and the correct setup, you will either bow your opponent's character or force them to waste far too many resources in trying to ready them up in order for them to go into the aggressive side. All in all, I think it is a very interesting stronghold that's going to open a lot of new possibilities and an array of new pathways. That being said, and I will finish with that, we need to start considering honoring and dishonoring out of Lion. Because if we're losing 50% of our capability of advancing our winning condition, and that winning condition being conquest, we need to start thinking about alternative winning conditions using that particular stronghold. That being honor or dishonor.
Like, I look at this box and I see the 13 honor and I see kind of a reactive control ability, and this has got to be an honor box, right? This box is intended to win by the honor victory, just because it's not as much about crushing, by definition, crushing provinces and conquest. This is about actually doing attacking, but gaining positional advantage from attacking, and maybe doing annoying throwaway attacks. It's actually interesting because I was looking at the wording on the ability. So is there design space there for having a character who's always considered an attacker even when he's defending? Because I'm looking at the wording, and that wording is a bit odd.
Tyler, I know you'll say this. Make that card real. No. Wait. No. Make it an attachment that will read, attached, the character that this attachment is attached on is always considered to be attacking if when defending.
Mm,
And that will allow LPB to work in the defense as well. Oh yeah.
yeah. Like I'm just looking at that wording, and that wording is. Okay, I understand why you want a character there, so you can't basically have nobody there. Like send a guy in, pull a guy out, and still bow somebody out. But even still, yeah, like it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah. And there's definitely some design space there.
Yeah. Alrighty, next up, we're gonna fly along here. Kensen no Gaka, 5 strength province. Castle. Reaction after you lose a conflict at this province, honor each defending character. Air province. Very interesting. Reminds me a bit of a Crane province from the base set, but a hell of a lot better. Justin, any thoughts?
Not enormously, actually. Like it's clearly intended for an honor deck. This is you get into your situation. It's I don't know the backhanded compliment province for honor victories, where you get within range of honor and then you engineer, presumably with a unicorn splash and keeper roll if you've got one, a giant losing defense at this. You honor your board and then you shoot up by 4 or 5 points of honor and win. It's like I'm going to defer to Marius on this one. I am not hugely impressed by this card. I think it's very dependent on when it flips, and engineering situations where this is going to be genuinely beneficial seem quite difficult to me. Because in order to benefit from it in the early to middle game, you're going to have to commit people to it, knowing you're going to lose a conflict just to honor them, and that's an enormous cost in terms of tempo. So yeah, and the fact, I don't know. I'm just not feeling this one, I have to say. But Marius may have much better ideas.
Absolutely.
So, Marius?
So I think that the way that you look at this card is a little bit opportunistic, and I get it. If you put this card on the row, it's definitely going to be opportunistic. But if you have a look at my latest designs, this is an excellent way that the transposition goes from the stronghold to the row, then it gets replaced by upholding authority, and this gets in the stronghold. So my row would end up being something like Midnight Rebels, upholding authority, dishonorable assault, shameful display, and then my stronghold province would be this. So you attack me, you have a 50% chance of getting dishonored either in dishonorable assault or shameful display. I can set it up, especially in the first turns, that you get bowed in either of the two for shame with a courtier, then Midnight Rebels, and if you end up hitting upholding authority, then yay, I control your hand. By the time you get to Kenson no Gaka, I will have already caused enough attrition, and by I mean me or Matsu Kenshin or Ikoma Tomoya, the most well-known Red Lion players, with this particular mentality, or even Kostakis, of course, with the mentality of attrition. By the time you end up attacking our stronghold, we will have caused enough damage to your hand and to your board that if you don't break, the fact that we will continue honoring our guys is going to create a relatively big to very big swing towards our playstyle. Because either our characters are going to leave play, giving us more honor, allowing us to draw more cards, or we will just lose the game. So nothing really matters at the end of the day. So it is an entrenched position without the +5 for the military, but it is a politically attacked entrenched position with an upside if I don't lose the game. This is how I look at it.
I'm looking at the way the kind of honor deck's going, and I'm looking at the new stronghold and going, hey, can I get 2 air rings off in a game? And if you're Lion, you probably can win 2 air conflicts. And that if you can do that, you put you to 17, and then you're looking to get 8 more honor to win. You could be possibly playing guard duty if you're playing keeper. You could be playing honor blade if you're
I
waiting
wish
to win.
we had a role like that.
Do you not have a keeper at the moment, no?
You know, the clan decided to go for Secret of Earth and Secret of Earth.
Okay, well, stuff's going. Hey, Worlds is up shortly. You could totally do that. I was just thinking, like there's the courtier from the base set that if you put a fate on her, you gain an honor. There's a decent amount of uncancelable honor gain, and something like this can just put your opponent in a real bind. And there's a character later up that makes it very difficult to deal with a bunch of honored lion. Lion getting honored is a serious problem. So like what do you do? I think this is a tool in that deck. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know where it's going to go exactly, but it is a tool, and this is the kind of thing like if honoring a guy is often worth a fate card, like this is sort of a pseudo fate card. You might get one, you might get two, but with this one you'll probably get two of it, like two or three at once, even if they go into it once, because they don't want to attack into this if they're not going to break it. It's a disaster. All right. Uh,
Exactly.
support of the line is support of the line. Like we might see some play of it, but it's support of the line. Next up, Ash.
Wait.
All right, go on.
On support of the line, there's something that I want to mention.
Yep.
I want FFG to seriously consider my following suggestion, which is the idea of if if a player plays clan X and support of clan X as the role, the whole of the card pool should be available to that player. So if I as a Lion player, decide to play support of the Lion and go the purely honorable way of I will only play yellow cards despite the fact that they are bad, I should have access to every single yellow card existing. Same for
All
the
right.
rest.
So basically, you'd ignore keeper and seeker and element restrictions on line
Yes.
cards. Okay.
And similar to the whole array of the existing clans.
Yeah.
Obviously, after all the clan packs are released, so that everybody can have that opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, I look at the support cards and I think they definitely could do with a revision. If they do a second edition of L4, I think you'd nearly throw the support cards in it, but tweak what they do. So look at they doing something like if you play Pure Lion, you're a Lion clan, and you play Support of the Lion as your role card, you get a minor bonus, whatever that is, and something like that will be a good bonus. But I'd say they probably want to theoretically at least keep the locked cards separate, even if in practice the locked cards aren't you know of equal utility. We'll put it that way. All right, next up, Ashigara Levy. Oh, free guys are always interesting. This guy is 0 fate, 1 military, dash politics, 0 glory, peasant. Reaction: after this character enters play, choose another copy of this card in your provinces or discard pile. Put that character into play. All right, another free guy for Lion. This one without a requirement of doing anything, but some restrictions about which conflict he can be in. And hey, possibly you get 2 of them. So, what do you think, Marius?
I don't know. I mean, especially with the new box, why not play Obstinate Recruit? You have the 2 in military. Well, it has 0 political, so it gets policy debated. Well, the Ashigaru doesn't. I don't know. It feels wonky. And the biggest cost for this card is the fact that it is a card.
Yes.
I mean, if it was a token, I'd definitely play it. Like if when he would come into play, if you're more honorable, put 2 more token copies of him,
Yeah.
then yeah, play him. But paying the cost of having to include 3 copies of this guy in my deck, there's just not enough space.
It's a bit like Eager Scout and Crab. And Crab have a lot of things they can do with just a blank sacrificial guy, but the expense of actually purchasing him, he does effectively have a cost. He effectively costs 1 fate because you're usually playing him. You're definitely giving up the early pass. So yeah, it's always been a tricky aspect to these guys. Like you think, oh, free guys, that's always busted. Less so in this game because you are giving up. Justin, any thoughts on free characters?
Yeah, like as you said, I mean, free characters means this is a solid chance you're giving up passing fate, which is effectively a 2 fate swing, which is really enormous. And as we've talked about before, there is a genuine opportunity cost to including a card this unimpactful among your 40 cards, or however many you're playing, 40, 41, 42, whatever. Like 0 cost cards are generally or 0 cost dynasty cards are generally actually pretty weak in this game, and do remarkably little to advance your win condition no matter what you're doing. So they come with a lot of hidden costs that aren't immediately apparent. And I think it's one of the great things about L5R's design is that a zero cost card can actually be really, really bad.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I'd be on the same boat. I mean, I think if these guys were a Bushi, they'd arguably be very, very good. But the fact that they're not even a Bushi is pretty detrimental, considering how focused Lion's card pool is on Bushi characters.
I know John had some ideas about them. They might have some value in the honor deck because you can get multiples of them into play, and that can be handy for a couple of tricks there where you give a blanket effect, like a blanket honoring, or you honor more guys in the for Kensen Gaka. But because there's zip politics, that's a huge restriction some of the time.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, you can draw some kind of comparison to Thingy Bob.
The river spell?
No, to Keeper Initiates. You can draw a quasi comparison to them. I mean, the thing is, like if you're playing these guys in, you want the game to go relatively long if you want to make the most advantage out of these guys. And yeah, I'm just not going to be like with Mia Satoshi hitting the restricted list, which we may talk about later. Then the easy ways of activating these guys becomes a bit more difficult. Yeah, it's just they're just not that impactful for the dynasty slot that you have to assign to them, and I think that's probably what dooms them in the end.
Yeah. All right. So interesting, but probably not going to see a huge amount of play. All right, moving on. Samurai of Integrity, who reminds me a lot of a crab card, Harumi Yojimbo, without a disadvantage. 2 cost, 3 military, 3 politics, 2 glory, Bushi with some flavor text, and that's it. A decent, like he is effectively a 3/3 character for 2, just as no ability, and his downside is highish glory, or maybe that's his upside. He seems like good value for stats, but I don't know if he'll get into a deck. But he seems like really good value for stats. Marius, any thoughts?
So if we had a good Keeper of Air deck, even if it wasn't red, if it was splashing Crane, and we had access to what's the name of it?
The air one.
Beyond the Approach.
Yeah.
That would allow us to get semi-consistently a 5/5 out of this guy. The way that I see him now is an early political push, maybe military push as well, and then mid to late game a Voice of Ancestors fodder. Because with this guy becomes through Voice of Ancestors a 1 fate +3/+3 attachment, which is pretty nuts.
Like he's good stats. He's very good stats. The question is, are good stats enough? Justin?
No, they aren't.
Yeah, they aren't often, but like he's very good. He's very good stats. That's really good value. Justin?
Yeah, like I think the most important number on him is 3 politics.
Yeah.
For an aggressively minded Lion deck, he gives you a really solid political character who is also a Bushi, and that's just super useful. So yeah, I mean, we've talked about kind of stat characters before, and they always look good on paper, and they always underwhelm. Like the Volcanic Troll is one I think that we've talked about before. But this guy, like I said, the 3 politics in Lion, that's not a number to be sniffed at, especially at 2 fate, and especially as a Bushi. So and obviously the Voice of the Ancestors in interaction is super, super good. So I'd give this guy a chance at seeing play.
He's a lot of stats. And if that matters, particularly if we hit a second edition or reset that clears out some of the people who just occupy a slot forever, I can definitely see him seeing some play. All right.
Yeah.
Now on to another 2 cost military character, Matsu Gohai, the Butcher, the old slaughtery, Mr. Boxable. 2 cost.
The Butcher.
Yeah. 3 military, 1 politics, 1 glory, Bushi. This character does not bow as a result of conflict resolution during conflicts in which it is attacking with 2 or more other Bushi characters. The Fighting Tricycle of the Lion Clan, the lesser spotted Lion Clan card focus. I don't know. Gohai's really cool, and hey, 2 cost 3/1 unique isn't terrible, but like that's a big attack. Marius, what do you think?
Can he be assassinated? Yes. How much do I want to invest in this guy? Minimum of 2 fate. Do I really want to invest 4 fate on this guy to have him get assassinated? No. So I need to spend another fate for him to get a finger and the card, so that then I spend more fate to get at least 2 other Bushy characters to attack with him so he doesn't bow. I mean, if he was a commander, maybe. But all this. So one of the things that I've been discussing with my mates from the Lion Clan and the Shurido guys is, one, more honorable, less cards in hand, lower bidding dial, having 2 Bushy characters apart from the one whose action you're talking about, like the corset Matsu.
Yeah, Benny-Ha.
No, that's not the one. That's another one. I can't remember her name. Whatever. The one who gets 2 fates when she comes into play. So the problem is that there are far too many diverse hoops that the Lion player needs to jump, and this is just another one. Like, okay, yeah, if I attack on my one conflict with 3 Bushy characters, that is 2 turns worth of fate. Okay, Gohei doesn't bow. So what? Can he defend now? Okay, now he bows. I mean, we've gotten to the point in the game that cards need to be incredibly good over multiple conflicts to be borderline okay. For example, Prodigy of the Waves, Justin, is a great card that can appear in many conflicts and doesn't die as to assassination.
Oh yeah. But the thing is, like, Prodigy the Waves is now very much on the bubble for a lot of Phoenix decks. Like, it's the card that's starting to be cut now.
Exactly.
Which gives you which just says it says an awful lot about just how much the power level of the game is advanced. Yeah.
Exactly, that's my point. So compared to that character, Gohei is bad because he won't bow if something happens. So the point is that, okay, if you get him out of an Odiyaki trigger, good for you, but how often are you going to be able to get the favor and get to Odiyaki and buy him or Spirit Call him or charge him? It's just too conditional and too circumstantial. That's my appreciation of Gohei.
Yeah. I mean, he might see play in an all-out Lion Blitz deck. I think you'd play him because you'll have your 2 extra Bushi, and having anything to threaten a second conflict is important. But outside that, yeah.
You see, I actually think the really low politics hurts him because of, hey, I'm going to do another conflict. Crap. Whereas if he had some, like, I'd nearly like him more if he had like Pride and 3 Glory. So you'd be like, okay, he goes in with 2 other guys, he wins, and now there's an obvious line of play where I go in now with a big politics go high. You know, it's something like that would make him a little more, accessible to what he's doing. You know, because as it is, it's not like I go in, I win, awesome. You know, like as a HMT card, yes, but it's work. Like there's definitely 2 strains of Alpha War cards: the ones that are good all on their own, and the ones which you jump through several hoops to get them to work. And often the payoff on the jumping through several hoops is not quite worth it. Yeah.
Right. So why does HMT? Okay, I'm gonna digress and end up theory crafting, but HMT Unicorn works because they have the Ambusher, they have the Shugenja, or whatever her name is.
Yeah, the condition they have to meet is super, super easy, whereas the Lion HMT is super brutal.
Cavalry. Right, so they have the Ambusher, the Wayfinder, and the Shinomen Wayfinders. All of these are cavalry. We don't have conflict Bushi that are worth including. We have the reservist, yeah, that's fine, which means that I've already won a ring for the reservist to be good, which means that I've already attacked, probably militarily, so her effect now is nullified, pretty much, unless we're talking about HMT, and then I need to have sacrificed something, and I must probably have sacrificed her because it's just a 1 fate cost. And then the other thing we have out of hand for a Bushy character is Master of the Spear. And nobody, I mean, if we ever go to the point where we can sacrifice a 3 fate character, a 3 fate conflict character to HMT, then we've won the game already. So why are we even trying?
It's a big argument for maybe the Ashigaru should have been Bushi. That at least would be here. I've got some guys we can toss away to that.
Then you make Matsubiona far too good. Because you buy that guy, and then Biona comes in with 2 fade, and then you buy what's her name, the 2 fade 2/1 to Glory Lion that gives +1/+1 to everyone.
Tsunuri.
Tanuri, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but you gotta see 2 of them, so that's probably okay.
Yeah, but anyway, we Matsugohai, good, not good enough, we think.
Infamous character from the old game. Character from the old game. Absolutely. Well worth the salute, just from that point of view.
Oh, absolutely. Like, you're not going to see evil feeds upon itself.
No.
Matsugohai turn to desperate measures win in
Woo!
in U5R, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Goddamn Gohai.
Oh, what a game. All right. This card I really want to talk about. In addition to him having the most stereotypically evil features I've seen the card. Like, he looks like, he's a scorpion.
Why is he offering us an ice cream wafer?
It's possibly it's forced perspective, I think, or it's meant to be when he.
Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah,
but it
it
does
does
look like an ice cream wafer.
Or some really tasty lasagna. Something's going on there. But he has the beard of 3 evil men. So he's really bringing it over there. So this is the Ardent Amadasu, 3 cost, 2 military, 3 politics, 2 glory, courtier. Reaction: after an opponent's card ability or rig effect dishonors a character you control, take 2 honor from that opponent. I think this is the first card that's going to hit the restricted list in this pack, but that's just me.
Yeah, this card is either garbage or completely bullshit broken, and there's basically no in between. So on his own, without the triggering ability, he's so below par, he's not even worth considering. But if that reaction goes off, like against certain decks, he just destroys certain decks. And I think the bigger problem is that if Lion do actually have a genuine honor running deck, is that this guy on his own single-handedly shuts down your vector for fighting that deck, which is dishonoring their guys, dropping their honor, and beating their board. It just makes them win faster. So I think this card is just terrible design, and I'm kind of with you, Owen. I think this is an early, just looking at this, I think this is the kind of card that makes the restricted list super fast.
Because
it's
the honor
garbage or it's broken, like utterly broken. And
like if the honor deck works, this one is going to be like, oh, we have to get rid of this because it gives too much protection too cheaply. If it works, like if it doesn't work, whatever. But if it does work, it's like, okay. So you honored a guy there. If I dishonor him to get rid of the honor token, you steal 2 honor off me. Well, that seems slightly counterproductive. I guess I won't. Marius, defend this fellow. Is he too good? Is he just average?
Right. Couple of bits of info here. So, having very recently been painted as the villain of the whole of the Lion Clan for advocating for the Keeper of Air deck that I think would literally obliterate worlds, and I wanted to take 2 worlds. Sadly, I won't get my choice and my wish because the clan voted for Seeker of Earth. I will read you a quote from Ikoma Tomoya, aka The Outcast, aka Tom Nis. We need Adam Tomoidasu cosplay from Yu Akodo. That bootleg evil vizier looks. That bootleg evil vizier look fits you perfectly. So that kind of face is the face I do when people don't take me seriously, when I say that Keeper of Air is the correct role for Lion, especially with these cards out of the pack. Now you can see that's being mentioned in the chat as well, and I'm pretty sure someone's gonna make that meme out of me, and they are more than welcome. Now on the card itself, 3 fate, 2/3, 2 glory. I have played a 2 Fate 2 1, conditionally 3, 1 Glory Courtier just for the trait. Will I play this card? Yes. Will I test it extensively? Is the 2 Glory too much? For me, yes, because I want to play Forged Edict. Is he good? Okay. Let's theory craft a little bit on the guy. Against Crab? Crab don't really care about dishonoring your guys. They will just dishonor you using the Watch Commander. Crane? Will they proc Shameful Display while Omoidasu is on the board? Is Omoidasu good enough if he just stops your opponent from activating Shameful Display? My answer is yes. If by having Omoidasu, I can have my opponent not trigger Shameful, I'm happy. Okay, so that takes us on to Crane. Let's go to Dragon. Now, the new Dragon meta is going to be that dueling the deck with the Courtier duo that dishonors, bows, and kills, which means that in that deck, the Dragon players are going to try to dishonor, most probably using the insult to injury card. Will that stop this? Most probably not. They will still kill our guys. But at the end of the day, I will have made a 4 honor swing, which means then I can go to my dishonor victory, especially out of my Red Lion deck with my Miyakos. And if I ever get that Keeper of Air deck that I want, my backhanded compliments and my For Shames and my dishonorable assaults. So yeah, I think Omidasu is really good against Dragon as well. Well, the new meta Dragon. Against Lion, he's meh, so I just won't buy him. Against Phoenix, if Phoenix play Shameful, he will stop Shameful. And I think they are still playing Shameful. So yeah, good. Against Scorpion, he's an absolute 5. Out of 5, I mean. And against Unicorn, he's meh, because Unicorn just tried to break your provinces. But he's a Courtier, and I can for shame their big guy when they attack Shameful and Dishonorable Assault. So I would give him a solid 3.2 out of 5, maybe 3.5 out of 5.
The way I look at him is, if you get the honor deck going at all, he just switches off a bunch of avenues of play. Like, you're going to go, okay, I'm just playing my regular deck, and the Lion deck has bid one turn one because he had a Regal Bearing in hand, and he buys a Courtier, and he buys this guy, and then he draws 5 cards, and I'm like, okay, that sucked, but sure. And he honors a couple of people, and now he gets an air ring off, and now he's heading to 20 honor. And I thought, oh, I need to slow him down. So basically, I have to grab the air ring, because if I try and grab the fire ring, that doesn't help me. So he closes off lines of play in a way that mightn't be super obvious initially, but when your opponent picks him up, reads him, goes, for fuck's sake, and doesn't do anything, that's really going to be a factor. I think this guy is going to get hit, because if the honor deck works at all, he's too effective of insurance against kind of meta against the honor deck.
Yeah, he's like a mini Tadaka if you're honor running. Like their avenues for fighting, you just get shut off as soon as he hits the board. And I mean, another thing that bears mentioning, I think, with Lion as well, is that you don't actually have to play like 3 of this guy necessarily in a Lion deck. With Emperor's Summons from the last pack, which is an air province, and especially given Lion's propensity for resurrecting or reanimating their guys through Spirit Caller, and that card whose name I never remember. You can play like a toolbox of characters, use Emperor's Summons to get the exact one you want, like Ardent Omidasu at the right time, and and then he's on the board, and you're just bringing him back for the 2 or 3 turns that really count, and he's superb. So yeah, I mean, there are matchups where he's super, super poor, but again, I think the point was that he's garbage in some and utterly broken in others.
Yeah.
And that's usually the sign of a really badly designed card.
You see, he's a soft power, but he switches off answers, so that's always concerning. All right.
Yeah.
Next up, a more standard character, Ketsumatsu, another famous Lion Clan character, famous tactician. 3 cost, 3 military, 3 politics, 2 glory, Bushi, commander. Action. During a conflict in which this character is participating, if you have fewer cards in hand than your opponent, choose a character that opponent controls, move that character to the conflict. He's got really, really well balanced stats. 3 cost, 3/3. Bushi and commander, those are all nice. 2 glory is a bit up and down depending on what you're doing. But that action, if you can trigger it, is incredibly strong. Like, people forget how annoying harpooning people in when they're attacking or when you're defending is. How toxic it can be to what you're trying to pull off for a turn. He seems really good to me. Marius, what are you thinking?
If 8-3-3, that's good. 2 glory heads, because we're not Crane, we can't honor our guys on the spot. We also don't have a good air roll, like Keeper of Air again, that would allow us to play SBR. Bush and Commander are good, especially Commander, and we will very soon see why. My problem with him is, again, that there are hoops that we need to jump through. Again, if you have fewer cards in your hand than your opponent, the guy needs to be participating. I mean, choose one. Why not? The guy gets dishonored, becomes a 1/1. Make it so that during a conflict in which this character is participating, choose a character that your opponent controls. Move that character to the conflict. Pretty similar to the duelist that the Crane have. I don't see why we need to have more hoops we need to jump through.
Challenger only works when attacking, right?
Yeah, Challenger's only attacking.
Yeah.
I think the big thing with Matsu is that he can work when you're defending, which is pretty brutal for planning out a turn, especially if you've got the new Lion Stronghold in the background going board control.
Yeah.
But the lower cards is tricky enough. Like, it's you have to put yourself in a losing position essentially by surrendering card draw at the start of the game in order to turn on guys like this. So
yeah, but like we're thinking of the stronghold in terms of overall bowing and control. Where if you do a throwaway politics attack and your opponent goes, "Oh, fine, I stop it," and ideally with a Death Seeker or something like that, and you bow one of their guys, and then they attack you, and they get another one of their guys pulled in. That military attack could be going in unopposed or nearly unopposed, and it gets very difficult to stop. So that's why I think Matsu's good, is because he can pull your opponent very badly off balance and put them into a situation where all of a sudden his board position is terrible. And with Lion, if you're running Earth, you can back it up with Earth becomes Sky and be like, okay, I'm Earth becomes Sky and they're straight, and you try to pull out after I put you well off balance. I've gotten I bet a guy, I pulled a guy in, he's bad from conflict. You try to straighten one of your guys, Earth becomes Sky, and then I get to swing in. And that's all pretty strong. There are hoops you have to jump through to get into work, definitely. But I think the effect is like Scorpion had it on your man, and that was an incredibly strong effect.
Oh, Hiraway.
Yeah, and people forget how bad Hiraway is. And Matsu's better in one way, in that he's a lot more. He's not trying to
balance stats.
Yeah, he's got balanced stats, so he can go either way if need be. So yeah, not too shabby though. Not too shabby.
Yeah, right. Like the fewer cards is definitely a pain in the hoop, but the payoff is pretty good if you're in a situation where you can pull it off.
In the meantime, we can discuss about how terrible the fewer cards in your hand than your opponent is. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. Yeah.
Okay, but let's think about this. If I had my Keeper of Air deck as I wanted. No, hear me out.
I absolutely, yeah.
Then Backhanded Compliment is great because you lose a card and they gain one. That is a 2-card differential. Then they play a card and they are up by 1 card, assuming, of course, you start with the same number of cards in hand. And now, when you next play, you still have less cards in hand than your opponent. So you can play your Command Respect, and the next Backhanded Compliment will definitely go. And if they even consider canceling it, they pay you an honor anyway. So you can create some pretty rough circumstances and make it really, 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 really oppressive for your opponent. Again, if there were so if there is I wonder, is there design space for a card out of Lion that is a reverse backhanded compliment, something like your opponent draws 1, you gain 2 honor, or yeah.
I think that's maybe just a little on the non-interactive, hyper-powerful side. But
Absolutely.
Is it?
it could. I mean, gaining 2 honor, just playing a card to gain 2 honor. I mean, if there was a card that you could play and make an opponent lose 2 honor, I think we'd all agree that card was horseshit. So
I think honor will hit a tipping point where all of a sudden some of the things that we tried to patch honor or were tried to patch honor, yeah, we're a little ahead of the game. All right, moving on. A Coda Motivator. How are you motivated? 4 cost, 5 military, 2 politics, 1 glory, Bushi. Reaction: after an opponent's card ability or ring effect discards 1 or more cards in your hand, that opponent discards an equal number of cards at random from his or her hand. I gotta say, just the 5 printed military has got to tempt Lion. Just from looking at that. And the reaction is pretty strong. Again, it seals off a line of play, makes Ring of Earth really unattractive if he's on the board. And the 5 printed military's got to tempt people. What do you think, Marius?
I won't play this guy. 4 fate. Okay, the stats are fine, but it's a reaction. Do you see a pattern here? Like, we don't get characters and cards in general that say action do X.
I play
No
Crab,
condition.
Marius. I play Crab. I know all about reactions I can't trigger.
So, yeah, that was mostly directed towards Justin, who has a stronghold that says that favorite thing you just did, just do it again, because you know you can. So yeah, this guy is just a reaction, and that's my problem. There aren't just enough actions for us to do with the guys that we buy. That we spend fate for stats? No. I mean, with just 1 more fate, you, Eoin, can buy Kisada.
I can, but Casada's my clan champ. They get better deals on a lot of stuff.
Okay. Would I spend 2 more fate on this guy to make him a Kisada? Yes. Is he worth including as a 4 fate character? Will I ever be happy to spend 4 fate on this character? No. Because he's not impactful enough for his 4 fate.
That's
I
fair.
think his reaction might be relevant sometimes, but I want things included in my decks that are consistent, that just work, or I can set them up to work.
I think his reaction's good. The body he's on might be a bit too expensive for it, but the reaction's good. Like, there are stuff that discards cards in your hand. Even if he locks out Ring of Earth for your opponent, that's something, because Ring of Earth is often a strongly contested ring.
Yeah, but do you know what's going to happen? The moment that this guy hits the board, your opponent's just going to go void for that turn.
Yeah.
And defend Earth so that they won't lose the province that you attack Earth with. Just take 1 turn a beating, get this guy out of the board, and then just attack you for Earth and continue pumping your face. And this is just gonna happen. Like, they're just gonna get rid of him. He's gonna go under a bridge, or he's gonna learn how to swim, something like that.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well,
again, I think he's a potential candidate for the Lion Toolbox deck if that ever becomes a thing, where you put 1 copy in, and in certain matchups, like against certain Crane builds or certain Scorpion builds, then he's going to be very, very strong.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm not sure. Like I'd be with Marius here. 5-2 for 4 with an inconsistent reaction is, yeah, it doesn't make you feel good.
I mean, I definitely charge him in.
or Ujiakium or Spirit
Yeah,
Color.
like I would cheat him in. I mean, if Satoshi wasn't in the restricted list, he would be part of the one-offs I will have in my discard pile. But as we will see in a bit, hopefully, Satoshi is in the restricted list, and thank God for that.
Absolutely. All right, Voice of the Ancestors, another 4-coster, 3 military, 3 politics, 2 glory. Shigenja, water. Action, choose a character you control. Play a lion character from your Dynasty discard pile and as an attachment on the chosen character, reducing its cost by 1. Treat this attachment as if its printed text box were blank. It gains the spirit trait and the text. Limit 1 spirit per character. Add this card's printed military and political skill values to those of the attached character. So, this guy is another Shigenja. He's 4 cost. He's slightly understated at 3-3 for 4. But his effect is interesting efficiency. Marius, what are you thinking?
Macho Berserker becoming a better unicorn curved blade. Yes. So out of my 2 fates, I can get my Coma Prodigy to be a 0-2 courtier for my Forged Edict, and when she dies, she can become a fan. Yeah, like I'll test this guy. Like I'll test this guy a lot, but I don't see him ever leaving my decks as a 1-off or a 2-off. He's really, really good. I mean, I would spirit call him because you spirit call this guy in, use his ability, and pump another guy that is in the conflict longer with one of the other guys in your discard pile. This guy's just good.
Yeah, and you've got the Disciplined Samurai or Distinguished Samurai from earlier, the 2 cost 3-3 for plus 1 cost for +3/+3 is not bad. Yeah. So he's interesting. He's interesting value as well because you're kind of making use of characters you've already pitched. So it's like, okay, well, I'll get some stats back out of them, and having a little bit of extra stat pump available on the board is not terrible. And you can probably get a moderate cost option for spending 1 or, at worst case, maybe 2 fate to get a big pump. Justin, any thoughts on Shigenja?
Yeah, I like him. Yeah, the value's obviously there. I think it depends a lot on how many 1 and 2 costers you're running, because I don't think you often want to be spending 2 fate on an attachment. But that said, he lowers the opportunity cost of the attachment because it's not one that's coming from your hand or from your conflict, or well, actually from your hand. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe you would. But I just think he's like the value he represents over the course of a couple of turns is potentially really, really big. He's great for giving Lion a bit more political strength, actually, which is where they've been lacking, because you can take political characters with strong politics, and even when they leave play, you can just bring them straight back again. So he does help to balance out Lion's kind of asymmetry in terms of
Justin,
their.
Who are those?
Yeah, there's not a lot of them, but I mean, worst becomes worst. You can always pull out a Spirit Caller for a 3 political boost. Doesn't feel good, but it's situational. You've got the Samurai of Integrity, obviously, who will be a 1 cost 3 political boost. So yeah, he's not. Yeah, like I just like this character. Like he's going to offer you value, and situationally he can offer you a bit more as well. So thumbs up for that.
And if you're really, really courageous, you can stick a really expensive character on something like the 1/1 from the first set who doesn't go away as long as you're more honorable.
Yeah.
High risk. Woo. All right. Time for 5-coster. Matsu Suko. 5 military, 4 politics, 3 glory, Bushi, champion, commander. Reaction: after this character wins a conflict as the attacker against a non-stronghold province, if you're more honorable than your opponent, break the attacked province. Is anyone else shocked that Toturi has higher military and lower politics than Suko?
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good trait spread,
She seems
mediocre
like
stats.
she should be a 7-1 or an 8-1 or something like
Yeah,
that.
it
Is
really
really
does,
what
doesn't
would
it?
be.
But I suppose that might have been a little too good.
Mm.
So give her a Sashimono if you want to spend a lot of fate.
But it's a reaction, so you can only do it once a turn anyway.
You only need to do it once. You just give her Sashimono because they know there's a second problem happening. You know? So yeah. Yeah. I think she's pretty interesting. She seems like a great charge target, which is like seems to be a theme in Lion. Wow, if I could get this, on demand quite cheaply, this would be really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't play her at 5, but a 1 fate in a card, she's an absolute bargain. So
the repeated problem of the Lion clan. Marius, any thoughts on
yeah.
Suko?
So when I first saw her, I was like, wow, we get to break provinces. And then I read the card again and I was like, shit, we need to win conflicts. And we can't. Like, they've given us nothing to win conflicts with in order for Tsuko to come in and break the province. So my response, sadly, is okay, we need more stuff. We need more stuff to even turn a win into a break. And we don't really have enough cards to actually be able to consistently win. And that's a pretty big deal for us, I think. Tsuko, again, is a great charge target, great for better sequence target, great spirit call target. Will I pay 5 fate for her? No, because she doesn't do something on the board while she's participating in the conflict. She doesn't bow a guy, she doesn't kill a guy, she doesn't somehow influence what's going on.
All right, so that is Suko. There's 2 Champions of Yomi. 6 cost, 6 military, 6 politics, 2 glory, spirit army, no attachments except spirit. Reaction: after a character you control loses a conflict as an attacker, bow your stronghold, put this character in play from your dynasty discard pile. If it's in play at the end of the phase, remove it from the game. Is this going to see much play? Will you be reliably doing that? Marius, any thoughts?
If I'm to lose the only stronghold you want to lose as an attacker is the Coda Motivator one, and you have to bow it to bow a guy. Maybe out of HMT, but out of HMT you need to win by 5 or more your first one to have your second one. So I just don't see where this card is going to be relevant in. Because in Coda Motivator you already have to bow your strong. Well, maybe as a one-off in a Coda Motivator deck if there isn't a good enough target to bow with your stronghold, maybe against Scorpion or something, so that instead of bowing a guy that's subpar, you just drop Champions of Yomi in. I'm not quite sure where his reaction especially becomes relevant. I mean, again, I would charge him and I would spirit call him, but his reaction, I'm not quite sure where his reaction becomes relevant. Maybe in an HMT deck that you first go in for your political, and then you lose, and then you bow the stronghold when you don't have enough resources to win your first military to get the second one.
Yeah, I must admit I'm kind of underwhelmed by this guy as well. It seems like another great charge, great spirit caller target, but again, the reaction is situational and pretty much entirely context driven within the game. So it's just very, very hard to make consistent value out of this. Yeah, like I mean, I'm with Marius 100%. When you put a card in your deck, you want to be sure that when that card hits the board, it's going to do something for you, or it's going to advance your win condition in some way. But cards like this, I mean, you're never buying this as a 6/6 for 6 because that's just about the worst thing you can do with 6 fate in the entire game. So you're either looking at Spirit Caller shenanigans or you're looking at reaction shenanigans. The Spirit Caller is certainly more consistent, but Spirit Callering back a 6/6 is still just not that impressive these days. So then you're really down to the reaction, and the reaction is inconsistent. So I don't know. It kind of leaves this guy out in the cold a bit, I think. So but you're just always going to pick a card that does something proactive if you possibly can. And I have to say, I mean, we've kind of touched on this before, but I think you're starting to really see the squeeze that cards like Spirit Caller have put on Lion Clan design, because every card has to be balanced against being brought back by Spirit Caller. So yeah. Anyway, Champion Xiaomi just not doing it for me.
Yeah, it's too circumstantial, far too opportunistic.
Absolutely. All right, onto a holding, which I think is actually pretty good. +1 province strength, Hall of Victories, forced reaction. After a player wins a conflict, that player gains 1 honor, unlimited. So every conflict somebody wins, somebody gains an honor. That seems good to me, especially if the honor deck works at all. Puts a really dangerous clock on every attack. So yeah, I think this is pretty potent. Marius, any thoughts?
I like your cat. That's the first thought that pops to mind. But then again, I love all cats.
Yeah, he's a good fella.
So, do I want to give my opponent honor? The answer is no, because 2 out of my 4 wins in the Bologna Cote was through dishonor. Sometimes Lion have access, especially with Shameful and Dishonorable Assault, and Code Games and For Shame and Miyako, to go for the dishonor route, especially if they play Toturi and they can do a double air. So in the right deck, this is really good, especially in the SBR Crane Splash deck, because you just lock your Scorpion opponent out of dishonor range forever, because they will either win a conflict, say for air, and they will try to steal 1 from you, and then they will get 2 because of the holding, which means that they will nullify their own stronghold. Or you will start attacking, and even by barely winning, like a fire or an air ring, maybe a couple of pride guys, maybe SBR, you effectively lock Scorpion outside of their dishonor winning condition. So against that particular matchup, and maybe Crab, maybe this holding is good. In general, maybe in the Crab or Crane matchup with the Daisho, but this is a fringe case. I give it if I had to value it somehow, I'd say it's a 2.3 out of 5. Against dishonor of any sort, it instantly becomes something like a 3.7 out of 5.
One of the things I think about it, if the honor deck is any good, this is actually one of the most powerful honor gaining holdings they've ever printed. Like, if you compare this to any of the other ones that do honor or dishonor loss, they're nothing compared to this one. Because it's not unique. You can have 2 of this out. You can have 3 of this out. Like, 2 is certainly possible, especially if you decide to play Rebuild, which is a heavy cost, but you could do it. And then, like, hey.
But if you run this and Rebuild, how do you win the conflict?
Well, that's a good question. But what I look at it is,
you don't have actions.
If you have 2 of these, right, and you win a conflict, you gain 2 honor.
But how are you going to win that conflict? This is what I don't get.
That's a question worth asking. But I look at it and go, there's a lot of power there compared to a lot of the other ones. You have to be able to win the conflict, absolutely. But it's a lot of potential honor gain. Like, it's there for your opponent as well, but honor is the kind of resource which is really important in some matchups and not in others. You know, you gain some honor, cool. I was honor running anyway, so I'm okay with gaining honor. I think I rate it a lot as quite a powerful card because it's not nearly as restricted as most of the other holdings that manipulate honor. If you look at even the Phoenix one has, you need to return rings and stuff. That's doable, but there's an innate limit on how much you can do on a turn. And the roommate outpost is terrible. And yeah, I think this one is, yeah, it's one of the simpler, stronger ones. All right. Crab guy. I can talk about this guy. Yasuki Hikaru. 3 cost, 3 military, 2 politics, 0 glory, Bushi magistrate. Action. During a conflict in which this character is defending, choose an attacking character with higher military skill than this character. Move the chosen character home. This is actually one of the best crab characters printed in a long while because he actually has an action and he gets 0 glory, so you can't dishonor him to make him easier to use. I like this guy a lot. I think he's got quite a lot of value attached to him. You can get rid of an annoying attacking character like Toturi or somebody else like that who's gonna make your day very hard for you. So I quite like him. Crab don't have ridiculous options in the 3-cost slot. They've got some very good 4-costers. They've got some very good 2s. They've got some okay 1s. They've got Casada in 5 and Yari in 5 technically, but the 3-cost slot is a bit more dubious, and Hikaru is very, very good, I think. Any thoughts, guys? I like him.
Yeah, he's super.
Interesting, definitely interesting. Although I don't know, like, did you play him or Shuichi?
Shuichi's 4. Shuichi's very good, but he does a different thing. This guy actually helps you defend, and that can be really important sometimes in Crab. There are some decks which are like, we were finding, we were playing the Crab Dishonor deck, and we were just finding it so hard to defend, and this kind of character will be incredibly handy for that, because you actually have a defensive character you can make and actually buys you some time, which is nice. Because sometimes
Sorry, I think he's really good in just any style of crab, to be honest, because even in the standard Iron Mine, Reprieve, grind you down style, he just buys you time on defense. And that's all you need in that crab deck to assemble your overwhelming military force and then just grind them out. So, yeah, I think he's just super. I think he's absolutely great. Definitely one of the best characters Crab have received in a long time.
And I have a problem with the 0 glory there, because that means that even if dishonored, he doesn't lose any stats.
That's there as a penalty, because otherwise you consider dishonoring them so you can use them on more characters. Because if you use 1 glory, you get him down to 2-1. You'd be like, oh, he works in so many more characters now.
Okay, you can always find an upside to dishonoring your own characters, I guess.
But that's I would say almost certainly the reason. You know,
every silver lining has a cloud.
Absolutely. Doji Kuzunobu, 4-cost, 3 military, 4 politics crane, courtier creature, 2 glory. While this character is participating in a conflict, players cannot trigger reaction abilities. I wonder what he is. Is he got a weird shadow that reveals what spirit he is, or what type of thing he is?
I think he's one of the crane bird people.
Yeah. He's up to something. How do we feel about no reactions in fights with cranes?
Strength in numbers sends him home. Hopefully. But this is the thing, right? Like this is the problem with what I mentioned earlier. Like this guy comes in, now I can't trigger all of the whole arsenal of reactions to winning or losing, and now I just can't play my game. Like this guy's a borderline guest of honor for a particular type of Lion decks.
And not restricted, because otherwise I think guest of honor would be the favored pick.
Yeah, but it's more blanket negation.
Yeah. Hey, it's so much fun.
We are huge fans of blanket negation.
And it's another card where it's both players' fault if someone takes a reaction during the conflict.
Yeah, warnings for everybody.
And let's try and unwind time once again. We love those cards so much. All right. Hey, it's Phoenix Clan. 4-cost, Isawa Suke, the Master of Fire. 3 military, 3 politics, 2 glory, Shigenja Fire, Elemental Master. Reaction: after you honor or dishonor a character by the effect of the Fire Ring, each other character with the same printed cost as the chosen character, controlled by the same player, receives the same ring effect as that character. Mass honoring, mass dishonoring, cats and dogs living together. He's not throwing fireballs. Justin, what are we thinking?
He's pretty garbage, actually. I don't like him at all. He's the kind of character that really only makes an impact on a significantly advanced board in the late game. And even then, you're relying on a whole bunch of similar costs being on the same board. Apart from that, he's a wildly overcosted 3/3 Shigenja with 2 glory, which is more penalty than anything else. Yeah, he's just poor, just absolute garbage.
We'll have to wait for another Suke that actually lives up to the Master of Fire.
Yeah,
Like this
I was really hoping, I was desperately hoping for an Isawatsuke that dueled people and murdered them, because that would be on point. But maybe we'll get that in the Clan War sometime.
It really feels like he should be something like when somebody becomes dishonored, discard them from play, or forced reaction. So like,
yeah. Well, I mean, like in the story, he was a magistrate, and his favorite tactic was rounding up gangs of bandits, or getting his men to round up gangs of bandits, making sure they couldn't escape, and then just burning them from a distance. Just calling fire from the skies and burning them all.
I think they should have done something like that, where the firing, the honor half has a rider and the dishonor half has a rider, and you pick which one you trigger, but it's forced. Like once somebody does it, he goes off.
Yeah. Anyway, as it stands, he's super bad, and we should not waste any more time on him.
Absolutely.
Unless Marius has got anything else he wants to.
I was giving him a break since he'd been talking about the Lion so much.
Yeah.
All right. Now on to card art that used to be used for another character. Actually, one that Bayushi Akai won in the old CCG. Shishiro Denimaru, 2 cost, 2 military, 1 politics, 1 glory. Bushi commander. Each honored character controlled by an opponent has a base glory of 0. Do the Scorpion need more answers to people being honored? Do they? I don't know. He seems kind of meh to me.
Yeah, he's super meh. He is super meh.
I am happy if my opponent plays this card.
Yeah.
They have wasted a very expensive dynasty slot to play this instead of playing a liar that is a 1 fate for 3 political courtier trait that draws them a card. Yay!
Yeah,
he's not too much.
Yeah, and like, aren't all your opponent's characters, like if you're playing Scorpion, aren't they all supposed to be dishonored anyway?
Yeah.
It's
Whoa! Ardent Omoideasu disagrees with your statement.
Absolutely, we're in the it's an arms race. It's become an arms race officially.
Next up, Moto Arik, 3 cost, 3 military, 2 politics, 0 glory, Bushi cavalry. Action during a conflict in which this character is participating. If your opponent is more honorable than you, he or she must choose a ready character he or she controls. Move that character to the conflict. Well, we talked about crazy traditional abilities. Here we go with another one, and he doesn't even have a really good stat line to make up for it. I suppose 0 glory is okay.
I hate to say it, but he's better than Matsu.
He is better than Matsu. Well, sort of. He's on the attack as well,
He is definitely better than Matsu.
Oh, he's on the defense as well. Yeah.
And having lower honor is way easier to engineer than having higher honor.
Especially if you're a unicorn. Sure. Yeah, so value there.
We're talking about a clan that has an in-clan card that advances their winning condition, i.e. winning militarily, while forcing them to lose honor. Activating this guy. Yep. That's definitely far better card than Moto is. And works as a combo with the rest of the in-clan cards. So this is my biggest problem. A lot of the Lion conditions are anombos between themselves. For example, here we can see a Unicorn card that has a combo with the rest of the Unicorn cards. And we desperately need more of those in the Lion clan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And in stereo. I think, the other thing is that like the draw mechanic specifically really benefits this guy and punishes Matsu. So
exactly.
It's it's really he's just better. So good on Unicorn. Got a great character.
Okay, 1 cost, Caravan Guard, 3 military, 2 politics, 0 glory, Bushi Ronin, keeper roll only. This character cannot be declared as attacker unless you spend 1 fate. Do people need cheap defenders? Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
This is a garbage card.
Yeah. He's good stats. Put him that way. You know?
I could take him out of Mado Crab.
Yeah, because, well, but Mado Crab won't be deck any longer, but yeah, certainly.
Oh, no, Mado Crab is dead because of Satoshi being dead
Yeah.
in the activity list. So no, bad card.
Absolutely. Insolent Outcast. 2 fate, 1 military, 1 politics, 0 glory. Bushi Ronin. Seeker roll only. This character gets +1 military and +1 politics for each honored character an opponent controls, and God, I do not care. Right.
Yeah. Garbage.
Yeah. Okay, attachment. We're into the conflict end of things. Lion Clan. Tactical ingenuity. +1 military, +0 politics, 0 fate cost. Condition. Attached to a commander character. Attached character gains action during conflict which this character is participating. Search the top 4 cards of your conflict deck for an event. Reveal it, add it to your hand, shuffle. Pseudo card draw. +1 military for free. Only on commanders. This seems like value with a deck construction requirement. Marius, any thoughts?
Many, because literally 6 of my friends have asked me today about this card. Okay, let's break this down. Dragon could play Seal of the Dragon out of their Bushi plus good stuff decks because their monk cards were really good. Okay? But Dragon go tall. They go very tall. And they can because their stronghold favors them to do so. Now, where is Lion going to play tactical ingenuity? You either have to go tall, but none of your 3 strongholds allows you to, or boosts you to go tall by playing Seal of the Lion on a character and then tactical ingenuity, etc., 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 and making a big guy. Or, since you're not favored to do that, you need to play commanders. So you play commanders. So on which commander will you play tactical ingenuity on? Will you do that in Tsuko? New Tsuko? So we've already established that New Tsuko is kind of meh if bought properly. And it's a better spirit color charge target to seal off a winning conflict and turn it into a break. Will you put it on? Will you put tactical ingenuity on an honor general? On who else? Like what are our commanders to warrant this card for us to play in?
We're good.
We have a list from chat. Okotoyama, thank you very much. So Akoda Zentaru, Ketsumatsu, we have Mitsuko, Gifted Tactician, Honor General, Nutsuko. So there's a selection there.
Yeah.
To be honest, this card reminds me of Supernatural Storm back when Core launched. So when Core launched, Phoenix just didn't have enough Shigenja to make it a good card, but it was a card we said as soon as they hit a critical mass of Shigenja, it goes from being a very, very mark to an absolute 5-star. And tactical ingenuity is the same thing. You know, there's a paucity of quality commanders at the moment, but if Lion ever hits a critical mass of playable commanders, then this card becomes an automatic 5-star card. It's incredible. But the opportunity cost, I think, is very, very high at the moment, and that's what kind of knocks it now, for sure.
So this is a card that we will take great advantage of when we get more commanders. But until then,
yeah,
it's not a binder folder, but I don't think it's consistent enough for the great advantage that the card's effect can boost us with.
Yeah.
You know what I'd swap it with, actually? If this had Honor Blades, if this was the Honor Blades ability without the commander restriction, that was just Honor Blade, attached character gains, that would be a much better use of a 2-cost attachment. Like I think that would work better. All right, Total Warfare. 2-cost attachment, Battlefield. Attached to an unbroken province. Limit 1 battlefield attachment per province. Forced reaction. After a character loses a conflict at attached province, the player will sacrifice a participating character. 2 influence. So, this is... Some crab players were talking about playing this. I am not super enthused. But sure, it's an interesting effect at least. Throwing another rider on a province. So yeah. Marius, any thoughts?
Will I try it? Yes. Do I think that a 2-fate attachment that does absolutely nothing when played and has a conditionally great effect after you win a conflict is good? No, not really. Like, if this gave to the attached province a -3, -2 province strength, if it somehow did something for the board when played, I would consider it more. But right now, it's just a win more card. And this is my problem. Like, I am sick and tired of all the win more cards that Lion get. After you win this, and after you break a province for greater glory, and after you win a conflict, the card that no one remembers with the 3 fate cost honor all of your characters. I mean, okay, yeah, I get it. If I win a lot, but I really need to win. Can you help me win first?
Yeah, it actually reminds me a little of the crab holding that's coming up. The one that the trap one that if you break the province, someone has to discard one of the characters in the conflict. I'm not super enthused because it's difficult because it's a lot about controlling what happens in a battle without any strength, any ability to do that. So yeah, Justin, you were saying?
Yeah, it's super good with, well, it's better with Send Home, and potentially very, very powerful with Harpoon, because you can harpoon in a bowed character and smash them with this. But then it's a 2-cost attachment. So that's the upside for it, which I must admit seems super, super limited. I really don't see this making too many waves, to be honest. I think, again, you've got opportunity cost, you've got actual fate cost. Yeah, there's too much going against it.
It's a bit like a terrain in weird ways, but not quite. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I think that's what they were going for.
Embrace Death, card we've seen before. 0 cost, philosophy. Reaction. After a Bushi character you control loses a conflict as the attacker, sacrifice it. Choose a character controlled by your opponent. If that character has no fate on it, discard it. Otherwise, remove 1 fate from it for influence. So this is definitely something to go with Q Nakoma to double dip on somebody. What are we thinking?
I think it's really good. I think one of the big obviously it's the Death Seeker ability.
Yeah.
The knock against the Death Seeker was that your opponent could see it coming and knew exactly what was going to happen. The big thing with Embrace Death is your opponent does not get to see it coming. And that's what makes this so much better.
Yeah.
So obviously you want to have, a handy supply of sacrificial Bushi, but that shouldn't be too hard. And the potential payoff is quite significant. Like getting a 4 or 5 cost character off the board 1 turn early can be the difference between winning and losing a game. And the art is absolutely stunning. The art, the direction and the artist they get for these philosophy cards, they just keep on knocking it out of the park time after time after time. So yeah, I think it's a strong card.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed by it. I think it's got value. All right, Honor in Battle, 0 cost event. Action: if you have claimed a military ring, choose a character. Honor that character. 2 influence. We see the different costs honoring a character has. So this is an honor effect for Lion to go along with basically a couple of other ones that they've sort of been around, between a Perfect Cut and now Honor in Battle and Court Games. So do Lion like being able to honor their guys, particularly after they've won a military conflict? Marius, any thoughts?
So this reminds me of the encampment that the unicorn have. So the unicorn can double up on their resources, the resources they have spent on a character, if they are lucky enough to get the encampment on a dynasty flip. And what we get is that after we win a conflict, someone else gets to become honored. Kiyono might benefit from this. I mean, I could definitely maybe see myself playing this as a one-off, maybe two-off. I mean, I know that someone thinks that, oh, I can win a military ring and then play honor in battle and honor my Toturi that I have won, or my Tsuko, and then play, what's the name of the other card? Stand your ground, so that I can play my 2-card 0-cost reprieve. And my answer to that is we don't play bad cards to boost up other bad cards, because I have learned from the best. So this is the problem here, right? This is an okay card, but you need to have won a military ring. Like, this could be a reaction. This could be a reaction that said, after you claim a military ring, do this and that. It means how are we winning? This is what I don't get. We don't get the tools to win. We have a lot of awesome tools and tricks and toys after we do, but until we do, then we're like, eh.
Okay, just on the wording of this one very quickly, because I occasionally look at stuff like this. Shouldn't it be if you have a military ring in your claimed area?
No, I just think it means that even if you've claimed a ring, even if that ring has somehow left your claimed pool, you can still do it.
Yeah.
Like,
Wacky.
even if your opponent has taken the ring using the
maybe you took the Ring of Air and Phoenix played that air spell that puts the air ring back in the air back. I don't know. It seems like a bit of a corner case, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, but I always look at wordings like that going, is that deliberate, or is that just, is that just what it is?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, but like I'm completely with Marius on this as well. Is, again, the having tons and tons of rewards for winning conflicts, but not being able to win conflicts was where Phoenix was about 1.5 years ago, and it's the most frustrating, soul-destroying position to be in. It's like someone dangling, a super tasty reward just out of reach, and every time you try to reach for it, they just wrap you on the knuckles, and it's not fun. It's not fun to go through.
There's a lot of that in Elf War, though, so you got to be ready for the teasing the victory conditions just out of reach.
Indeed, a strong masochistic streak is required.
Okay, would cost.
I'm playing Lion, right? Like, I have to be a masochist to continue doing that after 2 years now.
All right, one cost. Prepare for war. Tactic. Action. Choose a character you control. You may discard any number of attachments and/or status tokens from it. If that character is a commander, honor it. 2 influence. How much do you hate Cloud the Mind? That is what this card is asking you. Yeah.
And how much do you hate cards that remove the token they put on? Because it's simultaneous, right?
You may discard, so you don't have to discard it.
You may. Okay.
So is 1 cost honor a commander worth it if you had enough commanders? Yeah, maybe. And it has some additional utility to get rid of
You're saying
bad
that in the
stuff.
Scorpion matchup, I spend a fate to remove Mark of Shame, honor my guy, well, remove the dishonor token and honor my guy.
Yeah.
Sounds okay.
Yeah.
In the Scorpion matchup.
Yeah. If you get the commanders, well, like, it's kind of soul beyond reproach for a commander, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Plus a bit more. That's okay.
With it, yeah.
If you get the commanders, that.
Yeah, exactly. If we get the commanders, this is where we are right now.
Well, I'm happy with you having a decent support card in there. And hey, worst case, if you really hate Cloud, you can play this, and you feel like not playing hand to hand.
I know Baz is in the comments. So, how would you feel if you had the Monk deck out of Dragon, like the really strong Monk deck without your 5-costed? What was his name?
Mitsu.
Mitsu. Yeah, without Mitsu. So this is where I kind of feel that we are right now with Lion. Like we have a lot of commander cards and synergy, but we don't have that one commander with a printed ability that says, action, do something really, really stupid strong. This is where we are. This is what it feels like to me.
Pretty much. Yeah, more commanders required. All right, we're gonna push on. We're gonna finish this thing. Right hand of the Emperor. The Emerald Champion's arriving. Clearly, 3 cost. If you are more honorable than an opponent, you can play this card from your discard pile. Action: choose up to 6 printed cost worth of Bushi characters you control. Ready each of these characters. Put this card on the bottom of its owner's conflict deck. Right. So that's a decent amount of straighten. It's another card you really don't want getting negated on you. Being able to play from the discard pile is kind of, I guess,
It's a perk.
You know, it's going to go at the bottom of your deck if you play it, but sure, you know, whatever. Like,
okay, so I've got a question. I attack militarily. I really want to break this province that I'm attacking. How is this helping me?
Oh, it's not.
Okay.
But HMT, woo! 6 printed cost worth of Bushi.
So this is my biggest problem with most of the cards in this pack. That if I read these cards back in the core set environment, I would be like, wow, this is amazing. This is the strongest card in the world. Something like that. Right now, knowing how the game works, I don't see the value in most of these cards. I mean, I don't see how it allows me to advance my tactic of either attrition or having this one explosive HMT turn or controlling the board out of Yudenikoma. I really don't see it. And if I play this card, even from my discard pile and spend 3 fade, Voice of Honor or an Edict or a, I don't know, a Censure, I pretty much lost the game. It's like, this is what happens when my unicorn opponent plays a Cavalry Reserves to me and they play for Zedek. Like, I see their face crumble in front of me, and I'm happy because this is what my deck is supposed to be doing, but I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to have my own face get handed out to me because I play this card hoping that I will ready what? LPB and Spirit Caller? To what end?
You can't straighten Spirit Caller, he's not a Bushi.
Sure, okay. See, okay, so what is... Okay, let's discuss this. Who are the 2 best targets for Right Hand of the Emperor?
See, I think it depends. If you've got enough 0-cost Bushi in your deck, bam, right there.
Obstinate Recruits. Okay, so I get 3 Obstinate Recruits. I ready 3 Obstinate Recruits somehow.
Yeah.
Because, okay, if I play 3 Obstinate Recruits, I've lost the game before we even sat down. But let's say that I have 3 Obstinate Recruits on the board. I have an LPB that I have defended with, so I need to now ready her. Wow, that's...
If you have 2 Lions Pride Brawlers that have been geared up a bit, and you play this card, yeah, like the thing is, I'm just thinking, there are the weenier 1-cost, often unaligned characters, some of which are Bushi. You could rock with this.
Okay, let me answer this from the chat. Unfulfilled Duty is fucking bonkers good. This costs 1 more and can involve characters with fate on them. Isn't that restricted and can be... Okay, so the reason why Unfulfilled Duty is really good is because of the nature of the HMT Unicorn deck. And I would say pretty proficient with the HMT Unicorn deck because I have been testing with and against it for the past 2.5 months while I was on holidays in Crete with my friend Yanis, who is a Unicorn Hatamoto. So the issue is that they can buy the new Gunso, and they can get the Border Rider, and they can get the zero-cost character, the Battle Maiden, and stuff like that. And they can also defend Mado with a bunch of characters from the discard pile that they discard with the Gunso, and then they can ready them up pretty efficiently. and they don't need to pay for these characters, and they also don't need to put fate on these characters. So this is the reason why Unfulfilled Duty is really good in that deck. My question is, also, you get a Shono in that deck and a couple of Battle Maidens, and then you win any conflict you want. Now the question is, what is the equivalent in Lion Clan? And can a Bushi-only deck be formed out of Lion Clan that warrants the use of this card? And so that I think that the answer is no. I mean, in my experience, Bushi-only decks lack the control that Cloud the Mind gives you and lack the control that having courtiers for Shames and Forged Edicts gives you as well. So I'm as of right now, I'm not quite sure that this is as strong as everybody thinks it is.
I think if you could find a weenie deck, this would have a slot in it. If there was a little guy weenie deck, little guy line deck, you know, I think there's value to it, and it's worth trying definitely. But like, it's super expensive, especially if you're trying to play it through a cancel. Like, whew, 6 fate, whew, lordy. But yeah, all right. Dragon Clan, 2 cost, Kitsugi Kagi, 1 military, 2 politics, 1 glory, courtier imperial. Reaction: after this character wins a conflict, choose up to 3 cards and player's discard pile, remove them from the game. 1 influence. The lesser spotted 1 influence Dragon Clan card. I suppose he gets rid of problem cards in opponent's discard pile they insist on replaying, because this game's got tons of recursion.
Why wasn't this in the Phoenix Clan pack, Justin? To get rid of your spells?
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, I'm certainly going to be very upset to see this come down and lose a conflict to it. Yeah, like he's situational. There's no question about it. Like, he's potentially great against decks like Phoenix and against Lion as well, but really not that great against a lot of other clans. But he's a 1 influence, like Eoin said, it's the lesser spotted 1 influence dragon conflict card, and he's a conflict character. 2/1 for 2 isn't terrible. Yeah, like I think meta dependent. I think he's meta dependent. If you see like recursion decks making big waves, then this guy is going to be around to answer those, and that's very, very good. A tool like this should be in the environment, but it's not just an automatic kind of silver bullet. There is counterplay. You have to win a conflict for him to do this, and you have to be playing dragons. So there are kind of sacrifices and that you have to make. So yeah, I think he's a really healthy card to have in the game, and not overpowered. Just playable enough to be, to feature in a lot of decks without being overwhelming. So yeah, thumbs up. I'm a big fan of this card.
Someone's asked me, I play Crab. I do. Do I like holdings in my discard pile? Yeah, but all my holdings are now going to be underneath my stronghold and then face down in my provinces. So
no, because your guy's going to get clouded. So no, they're going to stay under your stronghold forever.
But they're also going to come out slowly, and as I buy more copies of them, and face down, not face up, because there's no synergies. He puts them in face down. It's crazy.
I know.
It's ridiculous. Those who serve, unaligned, 1 cost event. Philosophy, limited. No more than 1 limited card can be played by each player each round. Action, during the dynasty phase, and reduce the cost to play each character you play this phase by 1 to a minimum of 0. Unicorn HMT loves this card. This card is worth mulliganing for them. It can be crazy. Baishiakai John has been running a HMT deck with this, and it leads to some truly explosive turns. So yeah, I think it's really very strong.
I think that this card is completely bonkers, especially out of this unicorn deck, which is a unicorn deck that we were preparing with my friend Yanis, aka Balaviaris, for his Bologna run, which very innovatively, I think, uses rebuild, if anybody wants to have a look at it. So the amount of equity one gets by playing this card in that deck is stupid. It just is too good, and the amount of money it generates, it's just ridiculous. Will this neutral card see playing Lion? No. Will it see playing Unicorn? Yes. Will Unicorn be almost oppressive in Worlds because of this card? Do they really care about getting the passing fate in Dynasty? No, because they will not see. They will not. The games that deck will play will not see very many Dynasty phases anyway. So you play those Kusev, you get a couple of Gunsos, you feed your discard pile, you run in there, you break, you run in with your second one for your second military, cavalry reserves, you ready the border riders that you go with your Gunsos, and then you break the third one, you do the same on the first conflict of the second round, and you win. And that's pretty much it. This is an incredibly strong card, especially for a very wide deck that can cheat people by buying people in the Dynasty using the Gunso, for example, that Unicorn particular deck, or variations of.
Absolutely. I think this is incredibly strong in the decks that can use it, and most of the ones it's going to be kind of random, but in that Unicorn deck, I think it's pretty intimidating, especially if they go off, they get the right flip and they go off. It's like, ooh, this is pain country. This is very, 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 very going to be very, 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 very awkward, unfortunately. All right, that was the Lion pack. So on the whole, what are we thinking? I think there's a big push towards an honor deck in there. There's a couple of pretty strong characters. I think there's a lot to like in the pack. I'm not sure it's ridiculously powerful, but there's a lot of good stuff in there. I think there are tools that Lion have picked up from this one. Like one of the better clan packs, certainly. I would think. So yeah, Marius, what are your overall thoughts?
Tyler came to the Coda Casino when I was still a member of it back in, I don't know, May, June or something, and said that we are here to win, and that the Lion clan pack would be a save-all for the great problems that the Lion clan has been facing over the past almost year and a half now. Where is it? Like, where are the solutions? I see more of the if you win more. If you lose less kind of cards. I don't see the big boost of, like, even for example, the attachment that gives a quasi tutor effect. For, look at the top 5 cards and pick one for the commander thing. Tactical ingenuity. What cards am I going to look for? The best card in my deck right now is Forged Edict. And it will continue being so. So what card am I trying to look for? Am I trying to look for my support of the Scorpion cards? Because this is the card that I'm going to be trying to look for. Where are my tools? I still want tools, and I got some toys, but I didn't get any tools.
I get you. Justin, any thoughts on the Lion pack?
Yeah, I'm a little underwhelmed overall. Like I really like the Stronghold because I think the Stronghold opens up a whole range of new play styles for Lion, and I think that's something that's been seriously lacking. And again, the push toward an honor deck is simultaneously encouraging. It's also a little worrying because it's inherently fairly non-interactive. Like you pile up little tokens by the side of your Stronghold, and when you hit a certain number, you win. And yeah, there are a few cards in this that kind of advance that condition and also make fighting it very, very difficult. So that's a bit of a concern. But overall, if I were a Lion player, I'd actually I'm siding with Marius. I'm a little underwhelmed by this. Yeah, I was kind of hoping to see something that would give Lion a push without a whole lot of effort having to be invested into into achieving those kind of effects. which is basically what every other clan has access to. But but Lion are still, they are jumping through more hoops than other clans, and that's it's a bit tiring, to be honest.
All right. Well, we've been going for a super long time, but I'm going to want to do the restricted list really quickly, just so we can talk about that. New restricted list just landed, along with an updated tournament conditions and more clarifications on the rules adjustment. A new PDF called the New Law, which is a better reference for organized play. Excellent stuff, all in all. New restricted list is going to hit. 5 cards are going to be put on there, and 2 cards are being removed. So first up is Maya Satoshi. Maya Satoshi is an engine that has been a big part of Crab for quite a while. Has also been used by Phoenix extensively with Forebear's Echoes to load up their discard pile. Some Lion players will flex Satoshi as well for Spirit Caller. So he's been a tool for milling a bunch of cards off the top of your deck to fill up your discard pile, because hey, there's a ton of effects that bring people back from the discard pile. So that's super good. Gateway to Mado is on there. Hasn't really performed yet, but clearly there was a concern about it enabling too many shenanigans going forward, and the Crab deck potentially having an infinite combo on it, or a pseudo infinite combo that wins you the game or just provides massive positional advantage. So they've both been popped on the restricted list, which probably removes them mostly from contention. I don't see them, like, for the Crab. If your choice between Satoshi and Rebuild, I think even a weakened Rebuild is probably better than Satoshi, because Satoshi on his own is not doing that much for you if you can't play Rebuild. And like Satoshi and Mado can't be in it together, so you can't load up Mado as well. So I would say that's pretty much the end of Satoshi as a major factor, which will weaken the Crab in a couple of subtle ways and a couple of obvious ways. You'll see as well, it's there to weaken the Phoenix deck as well, but like it's not attacking the problem with the Phoenix deck, but that's what it's going for. Also up on there, we've got Consume by 5 Fires put up there because, hey, you can use a lot of economic advantage, and they've got a new card coming out that lets them play them for a discount. Uji, because he's super strong. Cunning Magistrate, because he's too useful in a lot of matchups, I guess. And then going back into the pack is Neaton Master, off the restricted list, so Dragon can have a choice of playing him. And a much weakened Feast or Famine coming back in, which has now been errated to moving only 1 fate, I believe. Yeah, it only moves 1 fate from that character to a character you control. So much weakened. I'm not even sure anyone has a fire roll anymore. So, there we go. Any thoughts on that restricted list, Marius?
So first of all, the Gateway Tomato was a very much needed one. I think this stronghold is far too strong. Even if it is only when attacked, there are a particular type of clans, i.e. Unicorn and Crab, that are splashing Unicorn, that using Talisman can get you there, and then they can leverage the ability of the province very successfully. That in combination with the Gunso for Unicorn and Miya Satoshi for the Crab just creates a quasi problematic, I would say, the least situation when they can just toolbox everything. Satoshi discards the holdings, then they can rebuild them. Satoshi discards the characters that they want to put in the discard pile. Mado puts them back in. We've seen the Satoshi interaction with the Charge Burden for Bearer's Echoes dominate the environment earlier this summer. It was a very, very big problem, and everybody had to meta for that. And some people were successful in doing that. Some people just didn't, and some clans didn't really care, and they just went straight. Scorpion and Crab definitely had the opportunity to do that, mainly because of the fact that a lot of characters left play, and Dishonored characters leaving play is good for the Dishonored mentality of the Scorpion, and the fact that Phoenix had to play a lot of cards, which was a good thing for the Dishonored mechanic of the Watch Commander. But I don't think Satoshi should have gone on the restricted list. I think that his ability is okay in a particular set of clans and broken in other clans, which is the reason that once again I'm going to try to push my agenda of the 7, or if not 7, of the multiplet of the restricted lists. Not all cards are broken in all clans.
That's
For
true.
Greater Glory is not a problem in Lion. It is a problem out of Unicorn because of cavalry reserves. Therefore, if we had 2 different restricted lists, Lion players who want to play aggressively and break provinces can play for Greater Glory. I wouldn't, because it's a dead card in my hand. And then Unicorn players can not play cavalry reserves and for Greater Glory and dominate the whole of the board. So the Feast or Famine thing, okay, the change is sensible. The one fate change is okay. It still most often will work as intended, apart from, again, in the Dragon matchup, because they will throw 16 fate on each of their towers and try to win this way, which used to work, but it doesn't work anymore. The 5 fires, I'm not quite sure whether it makes any sense to me, because it's a very expensive spell, and you might as well just cancel it with Forged Edict and Censure.
Not everyone's got
but
4 Edict and Censor.
we can't as Lion, but I had to adapt to the reality that some events, if resolved, will cost me the game.
This is true. This is true.
And having my opponent spend 5 fate is quite a bit of a resource invested in that event. So I don't think the problem with Phoenix is the 5 fires card. I think the problem is the Kiden Isava stronghold.
Yeah,
that allows them to be able to do crazy things like that.
well, the Nassau one is just that if they have a good card that's a good answer against a particular clan, they get extra uses of that card, and that's just
they can spam it.
That's the breaking. And honestly, I look at it and I think that the intention of this restricted list apparently was to help pull up some of the underperforming clans, and I think hitting good cards from the overperforming clans or the on top clans mightn't necessarily help out the clans they want. I think that a slightly deeper dive of the meta should be done, and they should look at what card really punishes what clans. So you want to find the card in Scorpion that really punishes Lion, and go, okay, that card needs to get restricted. Not because it's too good, but because it advantages the Scorpion Lion matchup too much. And there's definitely cards like that. That you can have a look at and go, okay, what's too strong in the Crabs Crane matchup, or what's too strong in the Crane Dragon matchup? Like, what's killing them? Like, if you look at like Crane versus Unicorn, where Unicorn deck's incredibly strong, but if they run into Toshimoko, it's like Toshimoko, they have to have an answer for Toshimoko or they lose. And that's the kind of ground I think you should be covering, rather than trying to pull the clans down a little bit by looking at kind of problematic cards individually, looking at the whole environment and saying, okay, which is the one that actually tweaks everything. What can we pull down and make things a little bit easier to sort out?
Wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
On the rest of the restricted list, Uji, very strong card, especially
Yeah.
with the new Crane stronghold. Him being honored is something very easy, and him being honored means that they have to play one less phase of the game, i.e. the Dynasty phase. Cunning Magistrate is just oppressive. He's a badly designed card because it says participating in a conflict, and that should not be allowed, especially out of a conflict character. And then removing Knit and Master, I understand, is because of the fact that Dragon have been hit in the face repetitively. On that note, I want to ask everyone watching the stream that is going to be watching this on YouTube, and Tyler, if he watches this ever, why is For Greater Glory on the restricted list? Is it just the Ujiaki high roll 1 out of 20 combo? Is it the Cavalry Reserves interaction? What is the reason behind? Because right now my Bushi are my worst cards. Like, my only Bushi worth caring for is LPB, maybe my single Ujiaki and my Toturis. And even in HMT decks, the resources spent, like you can't even afford to play for Greater Glory because you need to be able to get that 5 extra to proc HMT. You can't afford to have dead cards in your hand. So no, for Greater Glory is not too cheap. Yeah, charge plus for Greater Glory is too good. Okay, yeah, I agree. Charging for Greater Glory is a problem. Is a problem interaction. However, charge plus reprieve is a similar problem interaction.
But just charge, like it's the most broken card in the
Exactly.
game.
Like charge plus reprieve, which is a non. These are not two cards that are in the restricted list right now. Is a similar problem, and I have built crab decks that utilize this kind crab splashing lion decks that utilize this kind of interaction. And the problem is that they don't give me enough control for me to play as a control-minded player. I don't see what the big difference is between having a For Greater Glory and playing a reprieve out of crab.
I think charge should just have been banned.
Yep.
And hopefully now, if they're going to do a second set, second core set, there's going to be a serious rotation. Actually, with that in mind, there is some not spoilers, but the precursor to spoilers has started to leak. There's a British distributor which put up pre-orders for Elf of War product, and one of them is called Clan War, which seems to be another deluxe box or big box certainly. And going along with that, we had the names of some of the new cycle. So at least stuff is in the pipeline. So yeah, that should be cool. Hopefully we'll hear soon what's up with that. All right, gentlemen, we're coming up on 2 hours. Any final thoughts?
There is a thing that I wanted to mention. So the comparison between the lion holding that you mentioned earlier and Ancestor Shrine.
Yep.
So Ancestor Shrine is a one-sided action that says return 1 or more rings from your claimed ring pool to the unclaimed ring pool. You gain 1 honor for each ring returned this way. So it is something that you trigger. It is something that whenever you win a conflict, I get a ring. But not only when you win a conflict, but you also steal 1 ring using display of power. You can return those rings after the glory count and gain an honor. So comparing that with the holding that says whenever, as a forced reaction, whenever a player wins a conflict, they gain an honor. I think the lion holding feels not just weaker, but less relevant. Because you can't steal winning a conflict. You have to actually spend the resources for it.
You do. You absolutely do. However, with that one, potentially, if you have 2 of those holdings out, you can gain 4 honor in a turn. If you just win 2 conflicts.
It's a bit of a horror show if you're actually facing a Phoenix player, though, and you've got 2 of those.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
They've got their shrine. They're like, oh, thanks, I'll just take 3 honor for winning this conflict. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's no question. Like, the shrine is just a better card. But it's one of those things where if Lion have an absolutely 100% dedicated honor running focus, then it may be better in the context of how well Lion can pursue that victory condition. But in a vacuum, the Phoenix card is 100% better. There's no question.
I'm not sure that there are cards right now that allow you to go for an honor winning condition, because then if you go to that route, you can't play assassination, you can't play Banzai, you can't play any of the cards that cost you honor, and their effects are just too good to pass on.
Yeah.
This is all true. All right, so final thoughts on the restricted list. It'll change some stuff again. We'll see what Worlds looks like. Worlds is going to be the big... We're on the death march towards Worlds now, so we shall start to soon see... Hopefully have some deck ideas, have some ideas to toss around. We'll hopefully start seeing some new packs being announced. Possibly after Worlds, we'll hear about the new Coda season, though we might start to hear about it a bit sooner. Yeah, should be some interesting times ahead coming up. Justin, any closing thoughts?
No, I'd like the thing I'm happiest about is that Dragon get Eden Master, so that hopefully their win percentage can, edge up a few points. Because boy, did it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Marius, thank you very much for coming along and contributing your excellence to letting us know what the hell line cards do, and also why they are so bad.
Because
uh,
they're yellow.
thank you for coming along.
It was an honor and a pleasure.
All right. Thanks to Baz for hanging out in chat with us. Thanks to everybody else hanging out in chat, guys. You contributed a lot today. Thank you for making the show really good. See you
Yeah,
all.
it's been awesome. Thanks, everybody.
See you
Thanks,
now.
everyone.
Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.